Okay, so today I just want to talk to you about ownership. Instead of looking to others to meet our needs, is how can we meet our needs, look to ourselves to really meet our needs? Because oftentimes we need support. Oftentimes we need encouragement. We desire certain things and it's so hidden within our subconscious. So again, when we talk about the conscious mind is everything that we're aware of in this very moment, right? Like I am consciously aware that I am recording this, but 95% of everything that I'm experiencing right now, it's like within the subconscious. Okay. So you take this into any situation, perhaps in a coaching dynamic where you are being coached, you are in a program, and you feel like you're not having your needs met. Okay. So, how do we have clues that we're feeling a certain way and our needs are not being met? Is taking a look at how we're feeling, how we experiencing life in any situation. Perhaps you're in a coaching session, or even like maybe you're in a group coaching program and you're like, oh, you're just feeling really irritated. You're feeling distracted. And if there's any part of you that just feels irritated, feel frustrated, I always see, and I heard this from another coach, where it's like our blocks are not the way, it's the pathway. So when we notice that we're feeling frustrated, it's actually digging in a little, especially if it's become consistent. Because people cannot meet our needs when we don't voice them. Okay, I want you to hear that again. Our needs cannot be met if we do not voice them, especially when we are not consciously aware of it. Our subconscious is aware of all the things that we're feeling, why we feel that way. We're frustrated because, like, all those reasons, it's aware of it, but we haven't taken the time to dig in, to allow that part of us that's underneath the surface to really come up. And so again, I'm always going to recommend EFT because it has like completely transformed my life, really helped me to clear energy quickly. And when I want to dig in a little bit deeper, especially in patterns where I notice over and over again in my life, relationship dynamics, business, any of that sort, where it's like, okay, I notice this pattern. I'm going to dig a little, then I find EFT to be very effective for that. But even if you don't use EFT, you can absolutely do journaling with this. Just make sure that you get into your body because there's so much wisdom within that. So going back to what I was saying regarding like when you feel perhaps you're in a group coaching container and you're kind of like spacing off a little bit, you're like not really in it. First, it is not that coach's job to be able to read your body language, especially if like your camera's off. It's us taking full ownership of that because I'm in coaching containers. I'm in a mastermind. I need to make sure I show up. I own my role and I am holding myself accountable. Okay. Oftentimes when we look to coaches, we think that person becomes our accountability partner. Absolutely. They can become an accountability partner if that was like the original kind of like expectation that was set by both parties. However, there's something so powerful when you begin to dig in and realize that you can hold yourself accountable internally. That internal accountability is so much more powerful than any accountability that is external outside of yourself. Personal accountability allows you to step into, we talk about like the higher self, our the woman we desire to be. That's how you experience her now. Okay. That is how you get into that space of like, if I was that person, no, I am that person now. I'm that person now. How would this go? If my needs are not being met, how do I communicate it? What is it that I actually desire? Is it that I feel perhaps someone is taking up a lot of space within like the group coaching dynamic where they're taking a lot of the airtime and you're noticing this pattern, but you haven't said anything? Okay. Again, it is not other people. It is not my husband's job. It's not our partner's job. It's not our children's job. It's not our friend's job, our clients, our coach's job to have our needs be met, especially when we do not voice it. Okay. So how do you voice this? We get in tune first by making sure that we get clear on what is the root of our frustration. Because if you go to someone and you think you know what the frustration is, and you go to a coach and you say, I'm very frustrated because this person's taking up airtime, that person gets very defensive. Because first, you have never said anything before. And then it's almost like an attack, and that's how they're receiving it. And that's also not how we have our higher self doesn't operate that way. She's going to operate from this place of like love, life, leadership. Leadership does not go into attack mode. We're all leaders. And part of this is you being self-led. It's like, okay, if I was self-led and I was a leader, how would I approach this conversation? My coach uses the word power to power. Okay. Where you don't see someone, your coach, as like this guru and you're beneath them. Instead, it's like power to power. Gonna meet her where she's at. I'm a leader. I'm going to step up for her. For when I say her, I mean myself, and have a conversation around what is that I need. So instead of attacking someone and saying so and so, I'm gonna just use his name Sally. I apologize if your name is Sally. It's just coming at the top of my head. Sally is taking up a lot of airtime. I feel like I never get a chance to really speak. It's like, okay, I'm getting frustrated. I notice I'm getting angry. Where does that stem from? I don't feel like I'm being heard. I feel like and this is not you communicating with her yet. This is you self-reflecting to understand where that frustration is coming from. That block, that energetic block that you're feeling about, where that's coming from. And from that place, it's like, oh, okay. I noticed that I'm feeling, like I don't have time to say things, that my voice isn't being heard, that I need support. And then it's like underneath that layer, right? This is where you can do some journaling. Some EFT would really help with this. And it's like, oh, it's because I feel like I'm not making forward progress. I'm not having the momentum I desire for my business. And I would really like the support. Okay, what kind of support am I needing? And am I needing encouragement? Am I needing strategy? Am I needing maybe a little bit of both? Or maybe I'm even unsure. And that's okay. So then you message that coach. If you don't have one-on-one, totally okay. I'm in a mastermind where you can just message like as a group. And then you can even tag that person and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing right now. I'm feeling really frustrated in my business. This is kind of what's been going on. And perhaps if the call's coming up, I would love to dedicate, I would love to be able to speak about that during our next mastermind call, during our next call. Okay. And that coach, hopefully she's in her leadership as well. What she'll do, typically what I've seen and what I do myself is if we're not able to have that one-on-one with you during that call, during the via Voxer or Telegram, whatever you use, typically she'll help try to support during the Telegram, or if the call's coming up real soon, she'll say, absolutely, ask some clarifying questions, and then she'll ask you to bring that to the next call. You see how you're able to then first tune in, especially when you notice this pattern. Because here's the thing, and I'm going to have to do another like entire episode on this because there's so many different things that I believe as just from an ethical lens in the coaching industry where I would love us to be in a different level of when it comes to ethics and codes of conduct, where I'm not seeing in the coaching industry, especially when it comes to certain practices. But one of it is when we talk about success. You absolutely, as a client, you're responsible for success within the program. And the coach is also responsible for that. It's both. Okay. And what I've seen, and we'll dive into this later, is that oftentimes neither one of the parties is taking full accountability for their role in either the success or the progression or lack thereof, the lack of momentum that they're making or whatever goal they desire within that program. So oftentimes I see is wobbly. It's either the coach is taking full responsibility, and the clients is like, it's your job, almost seeing it as a coach's job completely to make sure that they're successful. Or I see it kind of like this other way where it feels like the client is doing everything they can. They're not getting support. And oftentimes it's because you don't know how to ask. You don't know how to ask for your needs because you're not even sure what your needs are. And so this is a practice of getting in tune. And you can use this and apply it in any dynamic, even in relationships. When you notice you're getting frustrated, it's over the same thing. Digging in. It's like, okay, what am I feeling in my body? And for me, what I really do love, especially when there's like a conversation that's hard, and this is a great practice, is I do a prayer asking God to really help me to be able to articulate and communicate in a way where the other person feels valued. The other person does not feel attacked, where they can feel my heart, because part of that entanglement is the other person really can feel that energy and where I'm coming from. No one likes to feel like they've been blindsided, they're being attacked. But people can feel your energy when they feel it's coming from this loving place, this place of you're open for communication, you're open to having a dialogue, right? You want to talk to that person. You don't want to talk to the Michelle who's like, on fire and like upset, and at least my husband doesn't. So making sure that I'm working on regulating my system first. That's part of it. It's like meeting our needs, our nervous system, tuning in. And that's why EFT is so beautiful for this practice. It's really helping us to like tune in. Where am I really feeling that in my body? Okay, I'm feeling a lot of anger. Okay. Breathing into that. What's the wisdom within that anger? If anger could speak, if there were certain things, and perhaps you're like, I don't hear anything, totally okay. That anger, what are some of the things that led to it? What were you feeling before? What happened right before the anger? Usually they'll give you clues, right? Because again, our blocks are not in the way, they're the pathway. And then that leads to so much healing conversations in so many different relationships. Either you as a coach with a client, or you as a client with a coach, or you in that dynamic with friends, with family members, with your husband, with your kids, whatever that is. Such a powerful way for you to be able to articulate what it is that you need in a way where that person doesn't feel like they're being blamed. No one should feel blamed for us not having our needs met. Okay? Because as soon as they do, people are not receptive because now their guard is up. When you're feeling attacked, for example, if your husband came up to you and say, this is your fault, you did this, you, and they're not taking accountability for how they feel. You made me so angry. You made me so frustrated. All of that is like, whoa, hold on. Like, first off, right? That's exactly how I feel when someone comes at me like, first off, that's when you get the other Michelle was like, hold on. Hold on 1 minute. Let's backtrack a little bit before you come at me like that, right? That's the attitude I have when someone comes at me. So, you get the fiery Michelle. So we want that person to be receptive. And part of that is us, again, the blocks, identifying it, what's coming up, and praying. I always do a prayer covering us, imagining us in this love and life, this bubble that God is holding, that container, and is that place of understanding, especially when you're having harder conversations where there's a possibility and there's room for misunderstanding. This often happens when it comes with our any relationship dynamics with our partner, and even with clients or with our coach. Anytime there's a relationship, there's always like room for growth for both parties. So I hope this was helpful for you, friends, and I will catch you next time.